Hello. Good
Morning.
morning. It's Monday. It's 8 a.m. That's early, right? You're already in the office.
I am.
Luckily, I still have pajama pants and be in my office, but
I figured since I had to get up, take the dog for a walk, I might as well just get it together and get here. So here I am.
so how long? I think it was at least 2018 at the end of the year when we do our business planning on an office level. That was when we said we were going to do a show.
Correct.
And we would put like the whole backdrop in my office with the desk because that was where we were supposed to do the show.
Correct.
And it never happened. And then I moved.
And now COVID has forced us to do it because why not? I mean, we're all learning so much more about being on video, being on Zoom, doing virtual open houses, virtual showings. So why not? Now's the perfect time. There's a reason why we procrastinated.
Right. And I think like Zoom wasn't really the platform that I thought would be good to do, now that we're in different locations. But then when we figured out this whole StreamYard, I thought that's pretty cool because you can see all the comments. And so somebody didn't listen to instructions.
I know who it is. That's Kelsey.
No, that's Barbara. Say good morning.
Oh, good morning, Barbara.
So what it is in the link description, if you give permission to StreamYard, it'll actually put your face and your name anytime, and then we can showcase. So that's perfect whenever like somebody has questions, we can highlight what we're talking about. Otherwise, it just gives us, that fake profile and a Facebook user. But it's only us. So next time, just if you click that, I think you only have to do it once, right?
Yes. The first time you click allow StreamYard, and all it does, for those of you who don't know, or you're worried that suddenly we're going to see you, we don't see you. It takes your Facebook profile picture and it just gives us your name and we see your comment. And then once you do it, you never have to do it again. I click it every time I go on because I'm like, I don't know, are they going to know it's me? But they do. So,
but it does make it nice, especially if you're doing any of the other shows like Nick Bailey's show and stuff like that. When you're commenting and being interactive, it's kind of cool when you can see your face and the name to highlight whatever question or comment that you have. But you only have to click that one link to give permission once, and then that's it. But I am super excited to be able to do this. We're trying to make this. It's a weekly show. We figured 8 a.m. Oh, what'd she say? Right. So in the link of the description, it did say, so we have another one, same thing. So see how we don't see a name, but if I come over here and I comment, and let's see, Grant. So then we'll be able to see, and there is a lag. So see the difference on mine, I see my name and my photo. And all I have to do is click on this link, and then it just says, okay, you're allowing us to see your name and your profile picture. And once you do that, anytime that you make a comment on anybody using StreamYard, it'll allow your face and your name to show up with any of that. And that's great when we're highlighting and going over a question. But you only have to do it once. So let's see. So we're trying to make this a quick show, 30 minutes. Doing a broker buzz. There's an echo. Do you have your volume down?
I do. Do I? I don't.
Yes.
Should I not? What am I supposed to do with my volume?
Not on the video. So if you're watching it on the other side.
I have that off.
Okay. So it has the little volume with the X?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. I have it off. I follow directions. Good.
Okay. I didn't know. It was almost like an echo, and I was like, mine's off. But there's like a 20-second lag. So if you do, your comments will come into our dashboard that we're using on StreamYard. But in any case, let's go ahead and start with the broker buzz of the week.
Okay, so everybody, the broker buzz for this week is something I resurrected from, I think I first wrote this blog in 2017, and it's about having an effective and a good escalation clause. And I don't know if everybody else is having the same experience, but because inventory is so low, I mean, it is so low, every deal I did in the last 2 weeks has been a multiple offer, highest and best situation. And I will say this, I've never personally written an escalation clause, but I did have an offer come in with one on one of my listings the other day. And actually the first text I got from that agent was, will you honor an escalation clause? And of course, my first answer to that is, well, it's not up to me. It's up to the seller. So I can't tell you what they're going to do. But if you present me an offer with an escalation clause, I will present it to my seller. And then since then, multiple agents have asked me, because they are in multiple offer situations and they want to have their best foot forward. So an escalation clause is when your offer says, here's my offer, whatever it is. And then in the comments, you basically are saying, my buyer is willing to go, whatever it is, $500, $1,000, $3,000 more than the highest offer. Some of those escalation clauses will say from the highest offer up to a certain amount. So for example, the offer I had a couple weeks ago, the listing price was $425. I had an offer of $450, and I had an offer of $425, $741. Don't know why they picked that number, with an escalation clause of they'll go $1,000 over the highest offer with no limit. So of course I call the agent and I say, no limit, and she says, yes, no limit. And I didn't want to reveal at that point that the other offer was $450 because I still hadn't met with the seller. And so then when I met with the seller and he said, yes, he would be, willing to entertain that, then I went back to her and I said, is your buyer willing to go $451? And they said, yes. So when you're writing the escalation clause, you have to determine, and it's funny, an agent asked me the other day, and I said, there may be more and more escalation clauses. So is $1,000 more enough? Are you going to be up against an escalation clause? And then how does someone determine? So you might want to use $3,000, or you might want to use $2,500, or something like that. So in the newsletter that's going to come out tomorrow will be that blog, and basically it's the escalation clause is you would write, in the event of a multiple competing offers, the buyers will offer whatever amount over the highest offers net. And the reason why you want to say net is because you could be up against somebody who's asking for closing costs. So then that reduces their offer. So you want to make sure you cover that up to a purchase price of whatever that is. In the event of an escalation, seller is to provide the buyer with proof of the competing offer, along with proof of funds or pre-approval with the personal information blacked out. And the reason for that is you just want to make sure that your buyer is protected and that there really is another offer. But I will tell you this about the escalation clause that I presented to my seller the other day. He did take that one, but he's been mad about it the whole time. And this is why. I know Heather's like, what? He's been mad about it the whole time because he was like, well, we asked them to give their highest and best offer, and this isn't really their highest and best. He's like, they're playing chicken. And so do they really want my house? Why didn't they just put their best foot forward? Now, ultimately, he took the offer not because, $1,000 at $450 and a $451 is not making or breaking anyone. But he took it because ultimately it was a better financing terms. So it didn't matter. And we were able to hold that other offer as a backup because that buyer was still interested. So that's how an escalation clause works. It doesn't always work, or some agents don't like to use it. There's some misinformation out there that it's not legal here or something like that. And it really is. And I don't know, I have successfully used escalation clause. I think that's Barbara saying that is, because here's this, and I don't know if you remember this, Barbara, but I remember it vividly. I wrote that blog because of a conversation you and I had about an escalation clause back in 2017. I was actually standing in the in the courtyard at Suntree Elementary going to school. I can't remember what I was doing with Gavin that day, but I was on the phone with Barbara at Suntree Elementary discussing escalation clause. And that was somewhere in the end of 2017, I believe. So thank you, Barbara, for that. And that's everything about escalation, unless anybody has a question.
I thought it was quite interesting. I was talking, and I think that this is like the new norm with the lack of inventory that we have, but I thought it was interesting. I think I told you I was talking with an agent in Wisconsin, and in their escalation clause, they went 35,000 over. They added, to waive home inspection, to waive the appraisal, that they would pay the difference in cash.
Wow.
Whatever. But they still lost the bid, and it was the property was 250, but there were 81 offers on that.
Oh my gosh!
On a weekend. So it's just kind of showing, just how the market's kind of going right now. And I don't know, that just seems crazy.
It's totally crazy. I had one of my other deals was it was a 2-bedroom, 1-bath in Palm Bay. 2-bedroom, 1-bath, 7 offers. It was $145,000. I mean, that's part of the reason, the price, but it's still 2-bedroom, 1-bath. And ultimately, 6 of the offers were all financing, and my offer was cash, no inspection, quick close. But we only offered asking price. My gal friend of mine was like, I'm not paying more. And we won. And actually we won. Here's another thing that I think is interesting. And I talked to, who was I talking to yesterday? Michelle McKinney about this. Sometimes when there's multiple offers, your reputation as an agent plays a big part in that as well. And so the other agent used to be an agent here. She's an agent at another office. I've known her for 10 years. And she knows that I don't mess around, and I know how to educate my buyers on how the process is and how to get it done, and that I'm not going to play. And my buyer with the cash deal ended up winning because of cash, but part of it I know, because she told me, had to do with me. And that's also important. Your reputation in this business is really key. I mean, I've had multiple offer situations where I would never tell a seller something that wasn't true or something that I hadn't experienced myself. But I have told them I've done a deal with this agent and I've done a deal with this agent. And all I can do is tell you how both of those deals went. And sometimes they don't always pick the best offer because it's about the agent. So
no, I definitely agree with that, because I know there are some, definitely have seen that happen.
Yeah. Your reputation is huge. So
for sure. So that kind of ties right into the marketing marvel of the week. With inventory being so crazy, I would encourage everybody, if you're not already, taking advantage of the First IO app. I mean, Remax has offered 3 months, 90 days free. So taking that, making sure you upload as many contacts as you can. You can export everything after your database is cleaned so that you can put that wherever you want. But with inventory being so low, it's going to show you maybe, opportunities that may be out there. I think there's 700 different trigger points. It's very Big Brother-ish, but with inventory being super low, I mean, you can't beat out, especially it was free. I mean, we were paying, what was that, like $100 a month before Remax acquired it?
Correct.
Which is crazy. But now, I mean, you have 90 days free. Yes, you have to enter your credit card when you do that. But make sure, just spend a couple days adding everything in there. They will help you. We have tons of videos on, our Remax Elite University. But there are also, I know that Remax University is doing a ton of videos every single week on how to maximize your experience with First IO, how to, to really dive in, how to funnel, really how to use all this. So I would say, with inventory being so low, listings are key right now. I mean, it's just ridiculous. When you have somebody that may be on the fence, using the data that we pull even from our office, that every single week, that kind of shows you, the showings are crazy. The pendings, they could be so many more, but it's just everybody's having multiple offers. So, if you're the listing agent, I mean, that's like a gold mine right now. And you have this free technology that's willing to help you. And you use First.
I do. And I will tell you, nothing hurts more than when you see that someone you did a deal with has listed their home with someone else. And you're like, oh my gosh. I mean, that happened to me when we first did that class. And I had downloaded the app, and this is somebody who was my next door neighbor. And I sold their house that was next to, it was my mother's next door neighbor, sold that house, sold them a house in Capron Ridge. And I mean, she took me to lunch because I was so great. She sent me I'm going to say vegetable bouquet, fruit bouquet. And because I was so awesome. And then she lists her house and buys a condo with some like yeehaw. But knowing this person, I know that she probably got some really good discount, honestly. So but anyway, so yes, I've been using First.io, and I've seen in the like chat rooms about it. You know, you will get things like, I have customers who I've rented a house to, and then you get notification that that's for sale. Well, that's not really your seller because they were your tenant, but that's how dynamic this program is. It knows that that property is for sale, you know, and it may not have really been a seller that I could address because they were the landlord, but it's a very dynamic program. And if you're using it, you'll get a lot out of it.
And even if, I mean, just doing it for the 90 days to get everything organized, because then once it's all organized, because it tries to like data match emails, addresses, names. I mean, it just really organizes your entire database. You can export it, and then you can put it in any of your CRMs so that you have all that. I mean, put it in the Boosh, put it in, you know, the Real Geeks, put it wherever, whatever CRM you're using. I mean, make sure you have that. Excel. It doesn't matter if you want to put them on the monthly drip and design center or the holidays. You can, I mean, definitely do that. Just, I mean, to me, putting something more organic to be able to reach out. But, you know, I mean, just depends on, you know, are they buying cheap paint? Are they buying expensive paint? That all is a trigger. If somebody's buying cheaper paint, they may just be doing a touch up because they're considering selling. So definitely use that app. It's free for 90 days. You can't beat that. I mean, we were, Barbara, they do, see, look.
There's Barbara! Yay!
If you go to maxeliteu.com, we have a bunch of the courses, but I think every single week they are doing, and there's tons. If you go to Remax University, they've been doing weekly classes with James Swartz and the First.io developers. So they're, I mean, it's every single week they're doing different classes. So if you go to Remax University, you're able to see those. I think because they've been doing them so often, I stopped putting it in our newsletter, but there is a link so you can actually see all the different ones. And when you go to Remax University, they're really good. They actually update all of the classes. They're uploaded to RU within 24 hours. And then I have a bunch, I tried to keep the different topics in there. So when you're on Max Elite U, we have that full course. I believe there's 5 different webinars on, you know, just getting started, downloading it to, you know, work in the funnels and organizing and stuff like that. So I tried to separate the different ones that they have to put on our university page. But great question. And for sure use that. So what is like our weekly activity of the week?
So this week, it's determining whether or not you are left brain or right brain, and then determining what your customer or client or the person you're speaking to and how you can make that work for you. So in the Monday morning wake-up call email that you all got this morning, there's a little test, if you click on it, that tells you whether you're right brain or left brain. And now I can't remember which is which. Heather, which is which? Left brain is?
Logical.
Left brain is logical, and right brain is?
Creative, visual.
And
Did you finish the test?
I did finish. So I am 62.5% left brain and 37.5% right brain.
I believe that. Which I think that's where, you know, we have that whole Kerry and Heather show. So I am 75% right brained and 25% left brain. So I am a visual, not necessarily the logical, but I think that's also where like that whole law background and everything for you.
Right.
And I think you need the balance, especially when you have like the positions of us. So I am so visual that I need someone like you that's going to be like, nah, great, but we need to, add stats or make it more of this. So I think that's where you can balance each other. And I think with social, and if you click the link, go through the task, there's a lot of different things that you can do to help understand how we can all communicate with each other. And I know we were talking about this, the social aspect is a little crazy, but you got the right, the left, you have all your personality. I know we've all done the personality tests, and just right now it's just, we're kind of in weird times because it feels like sometimes no matter what we say, like even if it's from the heart, we're going to upset somebody. And and that's really where it's hard. I know it's only going to get worse as election cycle comes, but
which, let me just pull that back to something. Let's pull that back to getting listings. So I posted this morning the weekly numbers, and right now the market is on fire. It is a seller's market, and it's crazy. And I know that there's some sellers who maybe don't want people in their homes, but if they're thinking about selling and they're on the fence, now is the time to get them, because we don't know what's going to happen 4 months from now.
We don't know what's going to happen 3 weeks from now.
That's true too. We went from having the bars open, which I haven't been to one, but having the bars open to having them closed again. And so, really what we do know right now is houses that are priced right are selling, and they're selling quickly. So if you have someone on the fence, now is the time to think about it. And just back to the left and right brain, because I kind of went sideways there, knowing what you are and trying to figure out what the person you're speaking to is can really help you kind of reduce your stress, figure out how to approach them, and even with social and Facebook and everything. You're scrolling every day and you might see a friend of yours post something that you are just completely politically opposite to or whatever. And just knowing kind of who they are versus who you are may help you work through. Just scroll past that post. No need to say anything, or maybe say something that might ease them in a different direction, but it's crazy out there. Heather and I were talking about, like, even watching the news. It's causes so much stress right now. So
yeah, I watch my local news, which they're kind of unbiased, and it's different. Like, you guys have Orlando, so there's like all the craziness that goes on in Orlando. Could you imagine if it was just Brevard County news? Like, it would be, mine is more like community driven, and the news is from the heart. That's like their whole slogan. So there's not all like the meanness, or it's community. There's a lot of positivity in there. And I enjoyed like our local news. It's so different than, and I was like, gosh, that's like if we didn't have Orlando and all the craziness that went on over there.
Well, when I was a kid in New York, we were on Long Island, so we were an hour away from New York City, but that was our news, New York City. So sort of same thing. It's like,
and it's so bad. But yeah, so I have completely stayed away from all the other things. It's just absolutely ridiculous. I did put it on just to fall asleep a couple nights ago, and I was like, what is going on in the world? Go back to Netflix, and I'm just trying to find stuff that I can watch that way, because that keeps me sane. And I stay, maybe, I'm just being ignorant of what's going on in the world, but I don't know. Like, I just don't even want that negativity in my world, and I'll live in my little happy bubble. I'm fine. But there is stuff to know, back in March, we had no idea what was coming. When we were at R4, we had no idea where the biggest attendance in over 10 years, from the most countries ever. And this was in the news, but it just wasn't affecting us.
We didn't even think about it. And Barbara's on here. She was at our R4 with us. Like, did we have any clue then that this was what our world was going to be coming up?
I probably would have not really slept that week. I would have done a lot more networking.
I was so tired the whole time I was there. Poor Maddie. I mean, I went to bed every night at like 8 or 9 o'clock, but you know,
yeah, that probably would have not happened. I would have been with my 5-hour energy drinks and my whatever the hydration things were that I was having to drink. But I wish I would have known then. But it was just crazy how everything ended. But I mean, that's just something hindsight is with everything that's going on the way it is and how like Key West just shut down. So Sharon's down there now, right?
Sharon's down there now. And the last post I saw from her was that everything was kind of normal, except that if you were inside, you had to wear masks. So who knows? It'll be interesting to see.
I guess they're putting those roadblocks back up. And I mean, so
crazy.
I mean, it's just crazy. So as things start to, I mean, the board, you know, they're working remotely again. We're just starting to see that. I'm seeing that not just in Florida, but kind of growing everywhere else. But what can we do now knowing what that looked like?
Yeah.
What can we do? I mean, what's going to happen with schools? My school, we start school July 29th up here.
That early? Wow. I mean,
I know that's only a couple days different than last year, which was August 1st, but still it's like crazy because they're doing the senior graduation like July 31st, but school starts July 29th, which is, but that we have an option, virtual or regular.
Oh, wow.
To sign up. So of course I'm all for virtual for Jessica because she did so much better and there was no drama.
Yeah, that was not good for Gavin. He did not like it. And everybody's like, oh, because he wanted to see his friends. It was mainly because the teachers, it's one thing to go to virtual school where that program is already established and set up and it's on that one platform. It's another thing to be doing regular school virtually. Every teacher used a different platform. They had a different benchmark. It was, you have to go here, you have to go there. And it was not good for Gavin.
And
so
Hunter was not a fan. He, you know, and maybe the same thing, like he's in all the AP classes and stuff. He really enjoyed being with his classmates, whereas Jessica, it's just nothing but drama. So I'm okay with that. And I was willing to pay, like I found like virtual private schools and I was like, I will pay the price because I don't need any more drama. So I was super excited about that.
As we're wrapping up, I guess that was a quick 30 minutes. We want to hear from you guys. You know, what's going on? What are topics you want us to discuss? What can we address to help you make your business better or just your life better? Put them in the comments below, and we'll add them to our show for next week.
Yep. So until then, wake up, kick ass, and repeat, and we'll see you next week. Thank you all for joining.
Bye, everyone. Thanks.
Bye.